With the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Here.
On the phone.
Here.
Here. Announcements. Rumbarger Cemetery.
That's all you.
Yeah, so we've had some strange requests for the Rumbarger Cemetery, and lately, to say the least. And in the past, when the cemetery board had it and the historical society had it, there was an understanding that there'd be no graves opened up unless you had a tombstone already there or a plot assigned to you. And I would just like to have council actually go on record and support the same theory that we don't do any digging up there unless somebody actually has a plot for themselves and a headstone. Just to have that as a policy, get it on the minutes, so I can direct these people the way I feel it should be. That's my personal opinion, but it's up to you guys what you want to do. But it's not a place you want to be digging.
The reason being?
Well, the reason being is you have mass graves in there. You have graves that are older. You know, there's obviously no concrete vaults up there. You don't know if someone just thrown in a bag. We had issues when the wall was installed out front. And just don't mess with the dead. That's just my own personal opinion. Not many things I'm afraid of, but that's one of them. But I bring it to you guys for your, you know, what you guys want to do with it, so I know how to proceed in the future. And I'll answer any questions anybody has on that.
It's one of those things you probably don't need a formal motion for, I think, is...
Yeah, it's not really on the agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, as an agenda item.
Right. It would be more of one of those things where the staff are coming to the board asking, saying this is what we wish, and if you disagree, then vote no, otherwise it would stand.
All I can do is bring it to you. It's up to you what you want to do with it.
That's been the policy. I'm fine with it standing the way that it is.
I am too. I don't see it as a cemetery that we want to have people buried in. I think it's historical rather than that.
I mean, granted, it's because we have it looking so nice now. Our summer help, we're just killing it up there. No pun intended. But
Wow.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful up there.
It is nice.
Yeah, okay. I agree with
I do.
Thank you.
Yep. Hearing of the public on agenda items. I don't have anybody speaking on agenda items, so everybody will be at the end. Okay. Financials. Budget to actual 5/31/25. Everybody have a chance to look at that?
I did. I have questions, but I spoke to Lisa, and I know her and Terry are going to give a report, so I will hold off on my questions till...
I had some yellow marks on mine too,
Yeah,
and I'll
joint
just
meeting.
I'll just wait.
Yeah,
We're planning on the 18th on doing a fairly robust year-to-date update.
yeah. So I will hold off on...
That's going to be the same thing with the treasurer's report, I would assume. Okay. Saw that. Auto drafts and a check run. So if we can have, well, we'll do these also on the consent agenda, correct? Yeah. City building renovation pays, Hallstrom Clark, $26,882.10. K&K Plumbing, $35,730. Rennick Brothers, $27,022.50. And that's J.C. Orr is $92,637 even. That's for the city building, the remodel of the city building. Okay, so if I could have a motion on that consent agenda, please.
I'd just like to ask
Yep.
Scott for a quick report on the city building.
They're making headway. The very top floor where the police officers, I mean, Chief might want to speak on that. It seems like they got that probably about 98% wrapped up. We did go through for a punch list. There's a few things they need to address for the chief up there. The first floor and the main entrance, like the old treasurer's office, that's making some pretty good headway. It should be wrapped up pretty soon. And the bulk of the construction right now is in the lower floor for the police department. They've actually got their guys out of there, so I believe they've started demoing down there now. And we have the addition of the back for the offices going up. It seems to be going good. A lot of IT stuff's been moved over and switched over. Comcast did a big switch over today. So it's all heading in the right direction.
I will make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any questions on that motion? Vote on the motion.
Jackson.
Yes.
Gelfand.
Yes.
Dietz.
Yes.
Reesinger.
Yes. Special presentations, consolidation.
This will be a really brief one, I think, but you may recall that I think it was last month I gave a bit of an update on consolidation, how things are going, and a little bit on the roles, responsibilities of council, of the manager, etc., going into the future. Essentially what the form of government will be going forward. And one of the elements that I guess I kind of left off that people have been asking about is essentially what the difference is between a merger and a consolidation. Because people use the words interchangeably. I was even on a call with the DCED today, and they were using it interchangeably and incorrectly, actually. And it's actually a really important distinction. The act that enables consolidations and mergers, that act, specifically delegates the two as separate. And essentially what it means is that the merger, you have entity A, and entity B merges in, and all the assets become the assets and liabilities and such of entity A. In a consolidation, entity A and entity B cease to exist and entity C is created. And the reason that that's important is because effectively the contracts that are in place with the current city of DuBois need to be renegotiated. Everything that's titled and such needs to be transferred over to the new city. We need to file for a new employee identification number and set everything up differently. Unlike those mergers where usually the smaller entity just kind of is absorbed by the bigger one. As a purely personal comment, I will never recommend again being involved in consolidation rather than a merger. And the reason is because of that. The amount of work that you have to do in order to do consolidation rather than a merger is just a lot. I understand why the community wanted that, because it's two practically equal entities, and so kind of which one becomes the leader, so to speak. And the consolidation is clear, right? Neither one that exists continues to exist, and there is a new one. And so I appreciate that and kind of understand it, and that's at the same time, from an administrative standpoint, it's a bit of a nightmare. And so that translates into, for instance, potentially probably losing certain grant funding and such that Sandy Township had because of consolidation rather than a merger and so forth. So anyway, that is in short the difference between the two, and I just wanted to bring that up to council and see if you had any more questions about that, if there's anything you want me to sleuth a little bit more deeply, or if there's any questions that you've heard in the community that you want answered.
So they are requesting us to get a new EIN because we were talking about using the old one.
I tried making a case that since the city of DuBois current city of DuBois is going to become, take on the assets of, future city of DuBois is going to take on current city of DuBois assets and such, that one of those assets would be the EIN number. And the state initially said no, and then they said yes, and then the Fed said no. So I think we're stuck.
Yeah, it's just a lot more work.
A lot more. We've got to change all the permits and everything.
Every relationship we have with everybody.
Yep. It's an opportunity for a fresh start. It's a lot of work.
Thanks. Old business, resolution 2025-0416, small water and sewer
So in short, we applied for this grant and you approved the resolution at a previous meeting. Excuse me. And since then, the state got back to us saying some of the things that we asked for, they didn't consider to be eligible in that grant app, so they asked us to revise our request and our resolution as a consequence. So this is a simple update. Just took some electronics out, basically.
They were permanent. We'll need a motion on that?
I'll approve, making a motion for resolution 2025-0416, small water and sewer.
Second?
Properly moved second. Any questions on the motion? Vote on the motion.
Jackson.
Yes.
Gelfen. Dietz.
Yes.
Reesinger.
Yes. New business. Kenny Kane and the timber cut. Go ahead.
All right, everyone. So I was up here about 2 months ago and saying, hey, let's wait and see what happens with the economy and tariffs and everything. And either we had really good luck or I've gotten good at when to put out timber. So we'll take a little bit of both. So with that, we had the Compartment 1 2025 timber sale that we put out for bid. The bid opening was this past Friday. So is there any questions on the timber sale before I kind of go through?
Why don't you remind us, because I know we do sometimes get right to knows and stuff related
Yes.
to it. This was a planned cut.
Yes, yeah. So I did hear that around town this weekend as well. We're just doing this to accommodate with the changing of the city. That's not the case. We had this harvest scheduled for the last 10 years. We knew that this was coming. It was all part of the forest management plan. All the treatments, timber stand improvements, thinnings were all done in preparation for the regeneration of this timber stand. So with that, it's been in the plan for 10 years. We knew this was going to come, and the bid opening went very, very well. So it was a 102-acre piece on Compartment 1, which is along Anderson Creek Road. It was 788,000 board feet, and we had 6 bidders. Would you like me to go through the list or just announce the highest?
Just the highest.
And the highest.
It's on the internet. People can look.
Yes. Yeah. So we had 6 bids, which was extremely exciting to see. But the quality of this timber brought everyone out wanting to buy it. Gutchess Lumber Company, which the former Brookville Wood Products, was the highest bidder at $471,000 or $471,502, which far exceeded my expectations for this timber sale. So
Yeah, we just the one we did along the interstate was that 130 acres?
it was
300 and some thousand.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is really great.
Yeah. So we did great.
Yeah.
Yep. So that would have been the one in 2023, and then the one that we did last year, which this sale should have been part of last year's actually, but with the land swap that we did with the Game Commission, we had to delay. So all of that is done well. That sale concluded, did my final inspections today, and things are great. So, with that, I would recommend council accept the bid from Gutchess Lumber Company.
I have a couple of.
Yes.
One, you speak of a plan. Is there for the next 10 years a plan?
So with that, it was discussed at the Watershed Committee meeting, when was April. We are due to do a 10-year update for the plan. So yes, we are due. It was done in 2014 and 15, so we're at year 10. So it is time to update.
So is that something that you guys will plan this year so it gets tagged into the new city?
Yeah, I mean, we will make a recommendation for that going forward, along with remarking our boundary lines, to get those updated. Really important.
Yeah, that is, because it's been, I believe, 8 years for that, and in the plan it calls for every 5. We do the update of the boundary lines, which is fun to do. That was one of my first jobs as a college kid, so I may just do it myself, being I live the closest. But that's something that should be done and will be added to the plan as well. But I guess that would be a question for you all. Is it something that we should wait until the new city is formed? Or as I got my lesson in terminology, Ben, is wait till the consolidation takes place.
How quickly you get it done?
This is a pretty hefty project. So it would take, there's probably 50 days of man time in the field. So it's hefty. It's probably a 2-month project.
Just don't straddle a year. Like, if you're gonna do it, I'd say get it done in 25, or
Okay.
wait till 26.
I would recommend right now waiting till 26, just because the workload, it's much easier to traverse the forest when there's not as many leaves out, and the briars aren't as bad, and the rattlesnakes aren't scaring the crap out of you every time you step over a log. So that would be mine, is we push that until 20.
Doesn't sound that much fun. Like that.
Our job is really, really fun some days, and then I kind of wonder.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's something I would recommend probably doing, push until early
I'm
2026.
okay with that.
Thank you.
Yes.
You need a motion on that? To wait, to have that done in 26?
Watershed, you normally.
Yeah, I mean,
No, you don't need a motion now. We'll be sending you a letter later this year,
Yeah.
recommendations of the
Okay.
upcoming, what we need to do in the next so many years for you guys to approve as a whole.
Okay.
And it'll also have actual future timber cuts and everything, working off our old plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, nice job, thank you.
Yeah. we did.
Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Jennifer, you have another question?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion you're looking for is an acceptance of the bid from Duchess Lumber Company Incorporated at $471,502.
So moved?
Second.
Properly moved second. Any questions on the motion? Vote on the motion.
Jackson.
Yes.
Gelfen.
Yes.
Dietz.
Yes.
Reesinger.
Yes.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay, we're to the part of hearing from the public. If you would please step to the podium and talk real loud into the mic, okay? So that they can hear you. First one I have is Deb Meckling.
Hello, Deb Meckling, 709 Monroe. I have some confusion on a recent decision made by council that I'm hoping can be cleared up. I'll start at the beginning to refresh everyone's memories. On December 5th, 2024, there was a letter sent to council from the Planning Commission in regards to a request to put a skill games business in the downtown at 333 West Long Avenue. The owner of the proposed business had requested a conditional use, and according to Mr. Lawhead, the code enforcement officer, there were a number of restrictions that made that problematic, such as lot size, setback requirements, and no off-street parking. The decision was made by the Planning Commission to transfer the decision of the conditional use to City Council due to ongoing litigation. At the March 19th, 2025 joint consolidation meeting, the agenda included a vote on the conditional use of 333 West Long Avenue. During that meeting, and also at the February 19th meeting, I spoke of the public reaction to so many skill games businesses and the optic this gives to our community. Members of our community have been very vocal about council being more proactive in regards to the skill games businesses in regards to the rules and policies instead of being reactive. At that meeting on March 19th, Mr. Gelfen made the motion to deny the conditional use at 333 West Long Avenue, and Mr. Achenbaugh seconded that motion, and council voted to deny the request. I recently noticed that 331 West Long Avenue, there is a new skill game business that has recently opened. How can that be if council voted against 333 West Long Avenue due to the restrictions of where it's at? Wouldn't these restrictions be the same with it being next door? What is the status on what the rules of operation will be for the skill games businesses? How many will be permitted? Is there a plan?
Zach has an answer to that too. Go ahead.
I'll start with Zach if you wanted to follow up. I think it's fair to say that they are in violation. That address is in violation. It's been noted, and At this time, we're not able to say much because it is going to be, it is an active topic of discussion with the solicitor about what actions we can take.
Okay, thank you.
Charlie McLean, 27 tons.
Okay,
27 tons.
is that what it is? Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
Currently? Okay, I was just curious because we did the repair work on the bridge on Long Avenue. And they took the weight limit signs down after that. They haven't been put back up yet. And so I was just curious what the weight limit is. I guess it's 27 tons. But there's no signage right now. So currently an 80,000 pound truck can go over that, and that driver doesn't know that he's not on there. And if it goes through the bridge and it's not marked, he's not buying, the city's buying. So is the signage coming soon?
Signage is coming, we just don't have it.
Okay. Okay, I was curious. And the other thing I found odd about it, signage that was up, the weight limit for a combination, which is a tractor trailer, was actually lower than for a straight truck, which is very odd. I drove professionally for 38 years, over 3 million miles, and the combination is always higher because the weight is spread out longer. So I was curious about that.
We're completely under PennDOT's rules on all that. We do what they tell us to do as far as the posting. I by no means am an expert in any of that at all. But we do what, and the actual bridge project isn't completed yet, technically. There's still stuff they have to do underneath.
Oh.
So, well, you know, probably like mid-June they get in there. There's some kind of restrictions to the creek from the Fish and Boat Commission that they weren't allowed to do the work in that stream or over on 4th Street going back to the Hungary. So it'll be finished in another week or two. It's just some small stuff they have to do. And then it'll be turned back over to us.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Charlie. Brett Zimmerman.
Hello, my name is Brett Zimmerman. I live on 1005 Green Glen Drive. Excuse me if I look down to check up on notes that I have. I'm here to discuss or make comment about one of the last meetings that was a joint meeting about some properties that were going to be up for sale. One of them being in my backyard, the Coke Hill Playground. With that, that's a place where a lot of children over the last 50 years have learned to play catch, run, enjoy outside time, and be safe. No cars, no roads, anything else going on there. With that, there was minimal upkeep from the city, from all of my neighbors that I've spoke to about that. That was something that the people who lived up there have taken care of and managed for what I've got the most part. I have been there since 2018. I've never seen a city truck up there, any city workers up there. I've worked through the city through college, mowing yards. I was lucky enough to stay off the flood control, and I've done that for 5 years, and I was never sent up there as well, as I mowed a lot, if not all of the city properties, with John Runyon and a couple other people who were out mowing yards all the time. According to the letter, the city managers wish to look to sell all of those, and that was a letter that you all have received, San Township supervisors as well, and that was signed by city manager Lisa Hagberg. I've tried to reach out to some people on council. I've sent you all an email. Mayor Reesinger, thank you for coming up and listening to about 15 of us up on the hill that day. He was able to see the property. I don't know who else was able to. I expect some of you have. I haven't seen anybody else up there through that time. It's a lot on us knowing that I look back through the last 5 years of minutes through the city council meetings. This year's were a little hard to find, but with all the roadway issues, the water line issues, thank you, Deeds, for listening to all those issues I've had over the years. This is just another thing that you are putting up on the hillside without fixing the current problems that are going on right now. I've made multiple attempts to speak with City Manager Ben Kaplan. I don't know if you know that or not. I've called a couple times. I've left a voicemail, and I got sent to a assistant who called me back, and she had very little answers. I sent an email to city council saying that I spoke to Lisa, which was wrong. I thought I did. I spoke to somebody that didn't have the most answers. I called again a couple times. I spoke to Zach. I spoke to Scott. They kind of directed me this way as well. And what I got was a phone call from Lisa on Thursday, and she didn't really have too many answers for me other than the fact that all properties that were listed need to be appraised. And I completely understand what's going on. That wasn't what was written in the letter that was sent. The letter that was sent was she authored it from the bottom of it, sell all those properties, get those off before the consolidation, and that way the deeds were not going to be transferred over. She referred to me that even though she authored the letter, you were the one that was going to man all these projects. She told me that she was going to give you my number tomorrow to give me a call. I don't know if you have yet or not. That would be, I'd appreciate that. The city has, my neighbors, we've all got together. I have a copy from 1992. I don't exactly know if this was trying to sell the playground before or trying to put the water tower up there, but it is a letter from Hannick, Talladay, and Gordon, the law office, sent to, at the time, Tony Cherry, about legal action that would be taken based off of Pennsylvania law that would keep that as a safe place, and I'll go over those here in a minute. I have that if anybody would like to have that here in a little bit. And I also have what I and my neighbors believe is a subdivision map labeling that area as a playground, which also then brings other legal repercussions in my mind saying that, and I believe Mayor Reesmeyer, you got those on the Hill that day. I don't know if anybody else was able to get those as well, but I have copies if anybody would like one. I strongly believe, and City Manager Kaplan, I don't know if you saw that or not. If you did, I would think that different legal laws, Pennsylvania legal laws, imply dedication in the fact that this has been used for 50 years by people learning how to play catch, run, climb trees, have a safe space, a recreational area for kids, families, and the community to use. Falls underneath that. Equitable estoppel and de facto open space protections would prevent the city from possibly selling this land. I teach government. I do not know a lot of stuff about this. The one thing I do have my kids do is look up different cases and different things that could be brought up in their lives as 17-year-old kids that could possibly help them, or to teach them, hey, just because you're 17 you think you know everything isn't sometimes what's really going on there. I don't know if all of my facts are right. I'm going off of my neighbors and what I have. What I do know is my 3-year-old and I went up there today and picked wild strawberries. Trying not to lose that for him. So, thank you.
Thank you. Don Newbert?
Hello, my name's Don Newbert. I live at 426 Randall Court. I'm also here to speak about the playground. There were 14 adjoining properties to the playground. It includes 2 walkways, 24 wide, and a 50-foot wide right-of-way. We moved there in 2016, April of 2016. February of 2016, prior to moving in, we noticed a little bit of water in the basement of our house. The house had a completely finished basement. It was one of the selling points. The following spring, we noticed more water. Cut open a section of wall. We ended up with 2 feet of black mold going up the walls, completely demolished the basement. Put in wall stabilization, water management, mold remediation, over 500 feet of French drains around the property to get rid of the spring water that comes down and just pops out. It's all clay, it doesn't go away on its own. All total, we spent over $50,000. One of our concerns is if there's any development up there, what's going to happen is they're going to re-divert the spring water. The city already took care of 3 situations up on top of the hill where the spring water was going across the streets. One of them was also on our property, the lower end. And there was also with this property, there's no infrastructure. So it would cost, say, a couple $100,000 to put it up there by the time for water, sewer. If you use city money, you can get grant money, but now you're going to be into prevailing wage, which is going to cost even more money. And you get $200,000-300,000 in 3 lots, it's gonna be pretty high price tag to sell it. My resolution, my suggestion is, why couldn't the city subdivide this property, all the property owners buy their section, and would buy it at a reasonable amount. That way, you're not gonna get it's not gonna be a cash cow, but you're gonna have it on tax rolls where you're gonna be getting tax money. The last 40, 50 years, you've been getting no tax money on it. And that's what I'd like to see if you do it, or an assurance that we're not gonna be back into a mess with water coming into the house. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jacob Blakesley?
Good evening. I'm Jacob Blakesley. I live at 516 East Sheridan. I'm here just to echo my neighbors up here about the playground. I know you guys have been hearing about it quite a bit. And Mayor Reesmer, I do appreciate you stopping up the other day.
Sure.
I apologize I wasn't able to be there. It was at the exact day and time of my daughter's second birthday party.
I get it.
But I just want to echo a little bit of what they say. You know, the Coke Hill neighborhood is a wonderful neighborhood. I've lived in a lot of places in my almost 40 years. And when I had the ability to move up there, I did in a heartbeat. We bought a little fixer-upper up there that was just at the high end of our budget. We're constantly trying to work on it. And what sold us was that park. Because, like I said, I have a 2-year-old and I have an 11-year-old. They play in that park almost every single day, year-round. Rain, snow, heat of summer, whatever. We see neighbors up there almost every day. And even people outside the neighborhood, because it is a public park. There are, I believe, 3 right-of-ways into the park, but I can tell you firsthand, there's people access it through other people's properties all the time. Nobody minds kids or other individuals going up to use the park, going through their yard. I understand there's a lot going on with consolidation. I belong with the fire department. I understand there's a whole headache with everything. But I do want you to think about, this is all for the community. This park is something that the community uses. It's not as popular or as well known as the park down along the boulevard, but it is used quite a bit. And I welcome any of you to come up and spend time with us in the park. There's kids up there all the time. We have a lot of growing families. I know the house right next door to me is in process of being purchased by another individual who's a bit younger than I am, and he and his fiance are going to be starting a family. So there are more and more kids coming up to use that park. And you know, with the economy, with inflation, with everything going on, there's less and less that we can all afford. You know, this is a huge asset that the city has to provide for the community, for the children, for something for them to do where they're not getting into trouble, where neighbors can be keeping an eye on each other's kids, and it doesn't cost the city a dime. We all help to maintain it. Sometimes it's a little easier than other times. I'm a public servant with one of my jobs at a neighboring community, working at least 70 hours a week, and I have a push mower. And I'm trying to save up to get a riding mower so we can mow a little bit more of the property up there. But please work with us on this. You know, we don't want to see this going to we don't want to be looking into someone's backyard instead of a place that our children can play. Thank you.
Thank you. Council comments?
Nothing tonight, I don't think. No, community days this weekend. I want to thank the city, the fire department, everyone that's putting it on. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that the rain holds off or something. But have fun, be safe, and enjoy the weekend.
Elliot?
Just echo Jen. Community Days is coming up this weekend, so I hope everyone is able to take part and enjoy the awesome programming and all the everything that'll be going on down at the park and the pool and the fireworks on Saturday night and the parade on Saturday. So just thank you to all the firemen for all the efforts to put together what I'm sure will be another awesome Community Days. So hope to see you down there.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for coming and for speaking. It helps to understand where everyone's coming from whenever we hear different comments. And hope for good weather this weekend for community days.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. It was very enjoyable to listen to everybody. I was out today with Scott Solinger. He's the our Penn State Extension representative, and him and I walked all the trees and stuff like things like that. We planted eight ironwoods on the city streets. That's Brady Street and Long Avenue. 7 of them didn't make it. Okay, we pulled them out, took pictures of them. Scott's going to get a hold of the nursery and talk to them about those trees. All the ginkgos did great, and the dogwoods did great. We didn't lose any of those, but we lost all the ironwoods. So there's a reason for that. He was going to get to the bottom of that, and we'll replant them. There's 4 bar maples on Park Avenue that just drowned. We looked at those, and there was no drainage, and you couldn't tell that when you planted them, but they just drowned. Okay, so that's like 11 trees. I think we planted 127 in these 2 batches over there, so it's not too bad. Okay, so everybody turn out for community days, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.